You think you're being a good partner, accommodating, flexible, always putting their needs first. But here's what you don't realize. You're not being loving. You're having a trauma response, and it's quietly destroying your relationship from the inside out. Today, I'm going to show you the trauma pattern that therapists see constantly, that most people never recognize, and that's keeping you from real intimacy. Because this isn't about love. This is about survival.
Welcome to Coupled Psychology, where we break down the science of love and relationships.
Here's what most people don't understand about trauma. We think trauma is big, obvious, the kind of thing you'd remember clearly. But the trauma responses that destroy relationships are often invisible. They're things you learned as a kid to survive your environment. They worked. They kept you safe, got you love, helped you avoid conflict. But what saved you as a child is suffocating you as an adult.
Dr. Bessel van der Kolk found that our bodies keep the score. Your nervous system remembers what happened to you, even when your conscious mind has moved on.
And in relationships, those old survival strategies show up in ways you'd never expect. Today, we're looking at one specific trauma response that'll change how you see your relationships.
The trauma response no one talks about: fawning.
You've heard of fight or flight, maybe freeze, but there's a fourth response more common in relationships: fawning. Fawning is abandoning your needs and boundaries to keep someone else happy. You become who they need you to be. You agree when you disagree. You smile when you're hurt. You prioritize their comfort over your truth. The devastating part?
It feels like love. It looks like selflessness. Everyone says you're such a good partner, so accommodating.
But you're not being good. You're being small. Your relationship isn't intimate. It's a performance. Pete Walker identified fawning as the most common pattern in people from emotionally invalidating environments. If expressing needs as a kid got you rejected or punished, your brain learned survival depends on making others happy. You became a feelings manager, a conflict avoider, a people pleaser.
It worked. You got approval, safety, maybe love. But in adult relationships, fawning means never letting your partner see the real you. They fall in love with your performance, not your person.
Eventually, one of two things happens. You burn out, resentment builds, and you realize you've been living for someone else's approval. Or your partner feels something's missing, no depth, no realness. They love you, but don't feel known by you. A 2020 study found people with fawn responses reported higher relationship dissatisfaction, even in healthy relationships. The relationship isn't the problem. The inability to show up authentically is.
What does fawning actually look like?
Sign 1. You can't access your preferences. Where do you want to eat? I don't care, you pick. What movie? Whatever you want. You genuinely believe you don't have preferences, but you do. You've just suppressed them so long you can't access them.
Sign 2, you apologize for things that aren't your fault. Partner's in a bad mood? You apologize. They're stressed? You apologize for existing in their space. They're frustrated at traffic? You somehow feel responsible. Classic fawning. You've internalized that other people's emotions are your responsibility.
Sign 3. You can't tolerate disappointing someone. Partner wants to hang out, but you're exhausted. You say yes anyway. They want you to skip something important? You do it. They ask for something that violates your boundaries. You can't say no. To your nervous system, disappointing them equals danger. As a kid, disappointment meant withdrawal of love or anger. You learned never disappoint. Stay small, stay safe.
And you're not doing this consciously.
Exactly. You think you're being loving, compromising, but compromise requires two people with identities negotiating. Fawning is one person disappearing so the other doesn't feel discomfort. University of Buffalo research found people with fawn responses show different brain patterns. Their self-referential processing shuts down. They stop accessing their needs and default to reading the other person's emotional state. You're not in the relationship. You're managing it from outside.
Why does this destroy relationships?
Because intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires showing up as yourself, with needs, boundaries, and opinions. Risking someone might not like what they see. When you fawn, you remove all risk. You become whatever the other person needs. That feels safe, but it's not intimacy. It's a transaction. You're trading authenticity for approval, and your partner can feel it. Maybe they can't name it, but they sense something's missing. They're with someone who agrees with everything, needs nothing, never pushes back, and it feels empty.
Dr. Sue Johnson talks about the importance of productive conflict in relationships. Healthy couples disagree. They have different needs. They negotiate. They push back. When you fawn, you eliminate all that. There's no productive conflict because there's no you showing up with needs that might conflict with theirs.
A University of California study found that relationships where one partner consistently suppressed their authentic self showed significantly lower satisfaction for both partners, not just the fawner, both people. Because your partner doesn't just want compliance, they want connection. They want to know you, see you struggle, need, want, disagree. That's intimacy. But you can't give them that. Your nervous system is still running a program from childhood that says showing your real self equals rejection.
The cruel irony? The thing you're doing to keep them close is what keeps them distant.
Yes, you're so afraid of being rejected for who you are that you never show who you are. The relationship feels hollow because they're not actually with you, they're with your performance. Eventually, something breaks. Either you burn out from constant self-abandonment, or they leave because they can't connect with someone who won't let themselves be seen.
How do you heal this?
First, recognize it. That's what we're doing now. Fawning feels so normal, most people never realize they're doing it, but now you know. Second, practice small acts of authenticity. You don't have to transform overnight. Start small. Say what you want for dinner. Express a preference. Disagree about something minor. Let yourself disappoint someone and survive it. Your nervous system needs to learn, I can show up authentically and the relationship survives. I can have needs and still be loved. I can say no and people don't leave.
Third, get support. Trauma responses don't heal in isolation.
Therapy helps, specifically trauma-trained therapists. EMDR, somatic therapy, internal family systems, these rewire the nervous system. Hard truth, not every relationship will survive you healing. If your partner fell in love with your fawning, they might not like the real you. That's painful, but it's information. You deserve a relationship where you can show up fully, where your needs matter, where you don't disappear to be loved.
If this resonated, if you recognized yourself in the fawn response, you're not broken. You developed an incredibly sophisticated survival strategy as a child. It worked. It kept you safe. But you're not a child anymore. And the relationship you're in now isn't the one you grew up in. You can learn to show up differently, to take up space, to have needs, to be seen. Subscribe to Coupled Psychology for more trauma-informed relationship content. And comment below. Did you recognize the fawn response? You're not alone. Remember, real love doesn't require you to disappear. It invites you to be fully present. See you next time.